Guys, I'm Tugan here to give you my predictions for the Premier League season. I'm going to start right from the bottom all the way to the top, and I'm going to try and predict every single place in all the positions in the Premier League. So let's get started from the bottom. I'm going for Brighton. They've got a brand new manager in. They obviously got rid of Chris Hughton, which I think was a very, very stupid decision, really. He kept them up. Yes, I know that they were on a bad run of form, but in the end, he did what he had to do to keep Brighton in the Premier League, and I thought he did a great job in doing that. And replacing him with a manager with no Premier League experience, had a season or two maybe with Swansea, obviously was the manager at Östersunds a couple of years ago. I don't think he's a good enough manager to keep Brighton in the Premier League. They've also got rid of Anthony Knockaert, a player who a lot of Brighton fans value as one of their best players the last 5 years at least. Was brilliant for them all back in the day in the Championship as well. Yes, they've still got Glenn Murray, but how long is he going to be banging the goals in? They've got the guy from Brentford, the guy up front who scores bags of goals in the Championship. But will he do it in the Premier League? Only time will tell. Also, they've obviously brought in on deadline day Aaron Moy from Huddersfield on loan. He was great for Huddersfield last season, but his quality wasn't good enough to keep them up, and I don't think his quality would be good enough to keep Brighton up either. That's why I'm going for 20th Brighton. 19th, I'm going for Sheffield United. Oh, first of all, I just want to say Chris Wilder's done an amazing job to get this team into the Premier League. 2 seasons ago, he brought them up from League One to the Championship. Last season, bringing them up automatically from the Championship to the Premier League after finishing second. He's done a great job. However, I do think this is where the fairy tale will end. I think they won't go down without a fight, but I just don't think they'll be good enough. I'm just going to say that they'll finish 19th. They've obviously bought the likes of McBurney from Swansea, Luke Freeman from QPR, Besic from Everton, who was serviced the requirements at Everton. Let's face it, he hardly got a game for them. I just don't think their squad is good enough to survive in the Premier League. Like I said, I think they'll give it a good fight like Cardiff did, but I just don't think I just don't think they've got the squad to do it. So, yeah, I'm predicting, sorry Blades fans, I'm predicting you to finish in 19th. Final relegation spot I've got to give to Newcastle United. It's been a very up and down summer for them. Obviously, with Rafa Benitez leaving, a manager who has been influential in keeping Newcastle up, really. They've also got rid of their main 2 strikers up top that were keeping them up, Ayoze Perez, who's gone to Leicester, and Rondon, who's gone to China with Rafa Benitez. They obviously have brought in Steve Bruce as a replacement for Rafa. They've also broke their transfer record, bringing in Joe Linton from Hoffenheim. It'll be interesting. I think that was a £40 million fee as well. Be interested to see if he can hit the ground running. But I just think with the likes of Perez gone, even Mohamed Diame, like I've said, Rondon, Rafa Benitez going as well. I just think it's too much to replace all at once. And like I said, they'll give it a fight. I just think replacing Rafa Benitez with Steve Bruce is like replacing Ferrari with a Vauxhall. It's just a massive downgrade. I don't think Steve Bruce is good enough. This is probably his last big chance at a big club. Newcastle are a big club. They've got a big fan base. They've got a rich history. The supporters over there just love their football team, and they just love football in general. They're so passionate. They just want a team that can play well, and I think most fans have very high expectations. But I think with Rafa Benitez going, Ayoze Perez going, and Rondon leaving, I just think it's too much. And I think Mike Ashley is ruining that football club, and I think they will go down this season, and I think they'll finish in 18th. 17th, and just missing out on relegation, I want to go for Southampton. They are a team who, obviously, when they first got into the Premier League, they had the likes of Ricky Lambert, Adam Lallana, Virgil van Dijk, all these great players who have either gone to Liverpool or are now retired. I think they've got a decent squad, right? They've got a young manager in Hasenhüttl who I rate quite highly, very highly actually. And I just think with the signings they've made, yes, they've bought Danny Ings from Liverpool for £20 million. Che Adams, cheap signing from Birmingham, who bagged the goals in the Championship. But like I've previously said, if he can bang in the goals for them, I reckon they could probably, maybe get mid-table. But I think they'll just narrowly survive from the drop. Obviously, last season they finished in 16th. This season I'm predicting them to finish in 17th. I think I've got some top players like obviously James Ward-Prowse as well. I think they've got enough in there to just about stay up. But I do think it will be a tough season once again for Southampton fans. That's why I'm going for them to finish in 17th place. If I'm going for Norwich City, I think they'll surprise a hell of a lot of people this season. They haven't spent a lot of money, but they played some great football in the Championship, very similar to Fulham a couple of years ago in the Championship before they went up. Problem I think Fulham had is they brought in too many players and they didn't gel with the players that obviously brought them up in the first place. I think Norwich are actually very risky, but they're keeping the faith in the majority of the players that have kept them up, and they've also brought Farman from Germany as well. It's supposed to be quite a highly rated goalkeeper. Dermich as well, I think, also from Germany. Patrick Roberts from Manchester City on loan. Quite maybe a solid signing, who knows. But overall, they've kept the core of their side. It could go one of two ways. It could mean that they're not good enough and they can go down, or because all the players know each other still very well, they could maybe, hopefully, I mean, against the top teams, and I think they've got a really bad run of games at the start. They've obviously got Liverpool to play tonight as well. So I think they'll start bad, but then I think they will gradually get him some more and more points, and I think they'll get just the right amount of points to stay up, and they might even show that attacking football on display. I think most of the time they'll need to defend more, but against not the lesser teams of them, but the teams around them, I think they can outpass them and just play them off the park potentially if they play like they did in the Championship. I think they could surprise a lot of people, but I wouldn't be surprised because I'm putting them in 16th. 15th, I'm going for Crystal Palace. Now, this would have been a very, very, very different prediction if Wilfried Zaha didn't stay. The fact he stayed, I think it might take him a while to readjust to the fact that he's still a Crystal Palace player, despite handing the transfer request and wanting that move to Arsenal, and then obviously the Everton move falling through. I think, though, Zaha, he's a professional. He's asked for a move away from Palace for quite a few years, and he's been alright, and he's bagged in the goals. He's their main talisman. I think without him, they'd have been doomed. I think also losing Wan-Bissaka is a massive loss as well, and not really replacing him either it's a really bad mistake on their part, really. But I think because they've kept Wilfried Zaha, and this is my sole reason why I'm predicting this, I think they'll be in a battle, but I think they'll do enough to stay up, and I'm predicting them to finish 50th. I've gone for Aston Villa. They've spent the most out of all the teams in the Premier League. However, they've also lost around 10 to 15, maybe I think it was 11 or 12 players, and they've now gained around the same. This could go in the flip-flop direction, just like it did with Fulham, but they've kept their key players. They've kept the likes of Jack Grealish, who was instrumental in keeping them up. They've Josh McGinn has just signed a brand new deal, who again was brilliant for them last season. They've signed Trezeguet from, I think he was from France, but I've heard of him and I've heard he's a decent player. They've brought back El Ghazi from Lille, key signing, another player who was key for them. So they have spent money to improve the team, and especially from players that have already been at the club. Tammy Abrahams, I think, will be a really bad loss for them, but I think Chelsea pretty much had to keep him with the transfer ban. I just think that there are other teams that are worse than Aston Villa, and that's the main reason why I've kept them up, really. They could do a Fulham. I don't think they will do low. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, but I am predicting them to finish 14th. I know a lot of people that are predicting Villa to finish much higher. I don't think it will be that as great as what some Villa fans are thinking, but I am saying that they will stay up. It might not be comfortable, but it's 14th place. 14th, I've gone for Burnley. A nice, solid mid-table finish once again for Sean Dyche's men, really. They've brought in Jay Rodriguez, brought him back, I should say. I feel like he'd probably be coming back with a point to prove. Obviously, he was great at Southampton in the Premier League, and he was just killed off by that horrible injury and never really came back from it. And then last season, banging in the goals for West Brom alongside Dwight Gale. I just think that, like I said, John Dyche, very solid manager, and I think with him at the helm, solid back four, everything else. They've kept Tarkowski as well and Ben Mee. Yes, they've lost Tom Heaton, which is a very, very... And one thing I forgot to mention with Villa, they've signed a top goalkeeper in Tom Heaton, and you need a crucial goalkeeper to stay up, and that's why Villa I think are staying up. That was another thing I forgot. But with Burnley, they've got Nick Pope, who came in when Tom Heaton was injured a couple of years ago and really stepped up. I think I'll be okay with Nick Pope being there. I'm going for Bournemouth. I'm going for a nice, once again, just like Burnley, comfortable mid-table finish, and I think most Bournemouth fans will be happy with that. Who would have thought that 10 years ago when they were struggling to even stay in the Football League? Eddie Howe's done an amazing job. I think, everyone says it and it goes without saying. Can't stress it enough. He's done a great job there. I think the key thing for Bournemouth this summer just gone was to keep their key players, especially the likes of Nathan Ake, Callum Wilson, and of course Ryan Fraser, who was heavily linked with Arsenal at the start of the window but didn't materialise, and he's still a Bournemouth player. They've also added for Liverpool on loan Harry Wilson, which I think is a fantastic signing. If you see how good he was in at Derby last season, he's a proper player and he looks ready for the Premier League. And he looks like he's been. I'm actually surprised with the lack of signings Liverpool made this summer. They didn't keep him as a backup, but clearly Klopp wants him to play much more regular than he would for Liverpool. He wants him to have as much Premier League experience and as much game time as possible. That's why they've loaned him out to Bournemouth. I think it's a great move for him. I think it's a great move for Bournemouth. And with all the players that they've kept as well, I think they will be fine. They will not be in a relegation zone or anywhere near it. I don't think they'll be challenging for the top 8. I just think they'll be nice and comfortable in 12th place. That's where it starts getting difficult. In 11th, I've gone for West Ham. Now, I know they've had a great transfer window and got most of their business done early, meaning that most of the players that weren't in the European Championships under 21s or wasn't in other tournaments have actually managed to have a pre-season with them, which is great. I just don't think they're better than the other teams that I have in front of them. Obviously, the sale of Marko Arnautovic, he was an influential player, but I think we all knew he was out the door. His attitude, I think any other club in the Premier League, if they had a player like that who just wanting to leave, had really bad attitude, they'd get rid of him, and that's exactly what West Ham have done. And they've used that money but to sign a top quality striker. I know they've been cursed with strikers over the years, but I think this one is a brilliant number 9 in Howler, I can't say his name, from Frankfurt, and signing Fornals from Villarreal, a player who I was actually interested in Arsenal signing if they didn't have that position already filled, but it's a player who, very similar to Santi Cazorla I'm hearing, which is, a great signing for West Ham. Like I said, I just don't, and they've signed, good few other players as well. I just think that the other teams in front have just done that much better this summer and just have that much of a better squad. That's why I'm saying for West Ham to finish in 11th. Might be a bit of an anticlimax for some Hammers fans, but that is what it is. 11th, West Ham. It's exactly mid-table. This might come to a surprise for many. I've actually gone for Wolves. Fantastic first season back in the Premier League last year. Nuno Santo done a fantastic job. I just think the balancing act of starting really early with the Europa League. I think Burnley suffered from that as well last year when they were in the Europa League qualifiers. I think with Wolves in the Europa League qualifiers, yes, they have secured signings of Raul Jimenez, signing him on a permanent deal. They've also bought the young striker from AC Milan, who I'm not going to pronounce his name because I can't pronounce it. And, they've also secured the permanent transfer of Dendoncker as well, great signing. And they've got a nice little squad together. I just think that with all the games, with the qualifiers, Europa League, if they continue to carry on the way they are, and the squad that they've obviously got, I just think it'll be too much for them. And I think if they get into the group stages, maybe even possibly get into the knockout stages and finish 10th, I think a lot of Wolves fans will be okay with that. It's like when Bournemouth finished 7th, they dropped off a little bit, and I think Wolves will do exactly the same. It'll be interesting to see how Santo plays it, whether he will be prioritising the Europa qualifiers and then obviously the Europa knockouts, not knockouts, the group stages if they get there, and then how they play it from there. Hence why I'm letting them drop off a little bit into 10th, but I still think it'll be a great season for Wolves. I think even staying in the Premier League and being exactly mid-table, and even getting into the not knockouts, but the group stage, or maybe even the knockout stages of the Europa League would be a fantastic achievement. I can't see them getting into the knockout stages, but I can at least see them possibly getting into the group stages. And I think getting into the group stages of Europa League and finishing 10th would be a great season. Hence why I'm putting them in 10th. gone for Watford. Very, very solid season I'm predicting for the Hornets, of course. Signing Sarr from Rennes, I saw him run us ragged in Europa League, playing for Rennes against Arsenal in the knockout stages last year. Great player, and I'm surprised Watford managed to get their hands on him, but fair play. And on the other wing, of course, they would have Deulofeu, and if Danny Welbeck can get back to full fitness and stay fit, they've got a solid sign on a free transfer with Danny Welbeck. I was gutted that we let him go, but obviously business is business, and I think just the injury record, we just couldn't afford to keep him on the wage bill. But I'm glad that a team like Watford have given him a chance, and hopefully he can repay them. And obviously they've got Deeney, Andre Gray as well. Deeney's obviously still going to be a vital player, their club captain, a player who all Watford fans love. I just think that front three, potential of Sarr, Deulofeu and Welbeck could be solid, especially if Welbeck stays fit. I'm predicting a solid season for the FA Cup finalists of last year, and I'm predicting Watford to finish ninth. I've gone for Leicester. Great summer transfer window for them. Obviously, they've gotten rid of their main centre-half, Harry Maguire, got a good fee for him, £80 million to Manchester United. But they've also but on the flip side, they've brought in Youri Tielemans on a permanent deal from Monaco, very cheap, £34 million. I'm surprised another club didn't come in for him, considering how good he was for Leicester last season. But obviously Leicester might have had first choice, and he likes it there. He's settled at Leicester under Brendan Rodgers. I think they're on the up also with Brendan Rodgers. He's done a great job there, and he's building a nice, tidy squad with the likes of obviously Maddison as well. Jamie Vardy still scoring goals up front, and to help Jamie Vardy, they've obviously brought in a player who was one of the players, like I've said previously in this video, who was influential in keeping Newcastle up, and that's Ayoze Perez. I think it could be a solid. Maybe he's Vardy's replacement, or maybe they might be playing the two up top. Who knows? But a solid signing in Ayoze Perez. Also, Dennis Pratt from Sampdoria, 21-year-old midfielder. I've heard a lot of praises about this guy over the summer. Been linked with Arsenal and other clubs as well. But in the end, Leicester got his signature on deadline day. I think, I'm predicting solid 8th place finish, and I do think if they kept Harry Maguire, I think they would have just finished above the team I'm about to say. In 7th, I think they would have finished 7th, the best of the rest outside the top 6. But I just think them losing Harry Maguire, I just think it's a massive loss. But I still think they'll be alright to finish 8th, so that's what I've gone for. Best of the rest outside the top 6, I've gone for Everton. That's right, I'm predicting that there's no other clubs that are going to break into that top 6. Everton, I think, will run the 6th place team very close, but I think they'll still finish in 7th. Great signings, like Keane from Juventus, who saw that one coming. 36 million, absolute bargain. If he can hit the ground running in the Premier League, he could be what Lukaku was for them all those years ago when he first came to Everton from Chelsea, but obviously he had that low spell at West Brom. Solid striker. They've still got the likes of Richarlison, Gylfi Sigurdsson, and they've also brought in on deadline day, surprisingly, Alex Iwobi, who I think could flourish for them if they play him in the right position. He's almost the perfect type of player for Everton. He can dribble past players. Yes, he might not have that end product yet, but I think under a manager maybe like Marco Silva, and a new start for him after the amount of abuse he got from some Arsenal fans. I think a new start, fresh faces, fresh team. Obviously, Theo Walcott's there as well, so he knows Walcott quite well. He could help him, just be more comfortable in the team. He's still young, 21, 22 years of age. He's 23. Good season for Everton, I'm predicting. Obviously, they got rid of Idrissa Gana Gueye, didn't really replace him, but I think what they've got there already is good enough. But not to break into the top 6, hence why I'm predicting them to finish 7th. In 6th place, I've gone for Frank Lampard's Chelsea. Obviously, Maurizio Sarri went to Juventus. They've also lost Eden Hazard to Real Madrid. They also had a transfer ban. It's going to be very, very difficult for Chelsea. I do think they could surprise a few. I don't think they're going to... A lot of people are predicting them to finish outside the top 6. I don't think that will happen. I think they've got to give Frank Lampard time, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do. He's a club legend. He's done a great job at Derby. Do I think he's got enough experience to bring this Chelsea team, and return him into the Champions League just like Sarri did last season? Unfortunately, I don't see that happening. For them anyway, not for me. But for them, unfortunately for Chelsea fans, I can't see that happening. You never know, but I just can't see it happening. And they'll have to rely on Tammy Abraham to hit the ground running very quickly. Olivier Giroud, clinical striker, but is he a good enough striker to get you into the Champions League? He was for them last season, but will he be for this season? They're also bringing back Michy Batshuayi. They're going to bring a lot of trust in the youth, which Chelsea are not used to. I think for Chelsea, their fans, I think they are prepared for this. They've just got to be patient with Frank Lampard. This isn't a manager who really should be kicked to the curb after one season. It's a rebuilding process. They've got a transfer ban. They've done a great job in bringing back Kovacic at least, I think. They've obviously brought it. They also got in January to come in the summer Christian Pulisic as well. I think he's a good signing for them. I just don't think he's obviously in Hazard's level just yet. Whether he will be in Hazard's level or anywhere close to that, I think Chelsea will just be happy with that, really. But I just think that they won't be good enough to finish in the top 4. They could surprise me, but I'm predicting them to finish in 6th. That leaves me with 5th place. I've gone for, again, trying to stay as unbiased as possible, but I have gone for Manchester United. Reason being, the thing is with Manchester United fans is they seem to think that they're still the team they were 5 to 6 years ago. Yes, they might be the most successful club in England. I think everyone can agree with that. But it looks to me like a lot of their fans think that they can still attract all the top players in the world. I think this summer has proven, the likes of Paulo Dybala turning them down and Bruno Fernandes not coming and all that lot, that maybe they're not as an attractive side as they once were. Obviously, there's more to it than meets the eye. I think, obviously, the Glazers have took so much out of that club and are probably, well, they are the sole reason, along with Ed Woodward, who seems like a horrible negotiator. How they haven't got a director in football or a technical director in to sort out their transfers, I do not know. The club's in a mess. Paul Pogba could potentially be out the door. They've got rid of Lukaku and not replaced him. Again, they're another team who look to be trying to trust in the youth, but I don't think they have enough there. Obviously, they've brought in Daniel James from Swansea. They're expecting him to be a world beater straight away. Harry Maguire, 80 million, massive transfer fee. Decent centre-off they obviously needed, but I don't think he's as good as that price tag suggests. I don't think they'll have enough firepower to get into the Champions League this season. Hence why I'm predicting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United. That's another thing. Solskjaer, it all went down the tip after he got the permanent job. Will the players be resurrected again? Who knows? Will he get sacked by Christmas again? I'm not going to say whether he is or not, but based on what happened at the end of last season, wasn't that great. Everything ended in turmoil, and I think it will just end up being exactly the same thing for Manchester United. Hence why I'm saying that they finish in 5th. And also, they did sign Aaron Wan-Bissaka, great right back, obviously. I forgot about that one. But again, I just don't think it's good enough to get into the top 4, hence why I'm predicting them to finish in 5th. So, start the top 4, 4th position. I'm humbling myself here. I'm going to say Arsenal now. A lot of our fans are predicting us to finish 3rd. I think based on what Spurs have done, as much as I hate to say it, I think the signings of the Celso and Sessegnon, the decent signings, the fact they've kept Eric, you know what, I'll go on to them once I get into 3rd. I'll say my reasons why I think Arsenal will get back in the Champions League after 3 seasons of missing out. They've actually gone in the transfer market and addressed their issues. We needed a new left back. We signed Kieran Tierney. We needed a out wide winger who can go past a man, not just go past a man, but can, just get fans on their feet and actually have end products as well, which he has in Nicolas Pepe. We've signed Ceballos from Real Madrid, a solid midfielder, box-to-box midfielder, who is our replacement for Aaron Ramsey, of course. We've signed Martinelli, who's mainly one for the future, of course. And if I've missed one out here, I'm going to be absolutely gutted. We've signed David Luiz from Chelsea, who, short term, I think is a decent signing. Do I think our defence will be, back like that to being good? No, I really don't. But we're 1 point off missing out last season, and I think with the improvements we've made, and obviously the lack of that Chelsea couldn't make because of their transfer ban, I do think that we've got enough there to pick both United and Chelsea. I think United and Chelsea are in a much worse state than what we are, and if we can actually get our away form going, because the last 2 seasons it's been horrible, if our away form is even half as good as what it was last year, and the home form stays how it was apart from the end of last season, I think we'll be alright, and I think we will go back into the Champions League. And if we don't, I think it would be an absolute disaster. But yeah, Arsenal 4th. Me to third. Now, obviously, as all you guys know, most people that watch this channel are Arsenal fans. You might be quite surprised I'm saying this. I am predicting them to finish above Arsenal. Tottenham in third. Reason being, right, they've improved their squad. They needed more midfielders because they were literally heroically getting all through all the way to the Champions League final with mainly one central midfielder in Sissoko, and then Winks obviously came back as well. But they've signed Ndombele from Lyon. I mean, that's an incredible signing. They've also signed Lo Celso. Not really watched him, but from what I've heard from a lot of people, he's a very, very good, decent midfielder. Great midfielder, in fact, who they actually could be getting for a lot cheaper than what he could potentially go for. Obviously, a loan with an option to buy, and I think he could be going for around 55 to 60 million pound next season. You know, massive price tag maybe, but in this day and age, if you're that quality, you're going for 80 to 100. So maybe they've got a really decent deal, and they've also got the pleasure of not having to worry too much about if he's really bad. They have the option not to buy him if he's not that great. But I think the reason why I'm getting them to stay in their position in third and not go above or even below Arsenal, above Liverpool or City, or going below Arsenal, is because, surprisingly, I mean, unless something happens between now and the end of the foreign window, then my prediction might change. They've kept Christian Eriksen, they've kept Toby Alderweireld, they've kept Danny Rose as maybe a backup for Sessegnon, or maybe Sessegnon's going to be the understudy to Danny Rose. Who knows? Yes, they've got rid of Kieran Trippier, but they've got Aurier there already. I think they've got enough I think they've got enough to stay where they were last season. Yes, it might not be progression, but I think going into a new stadium as well, and I think, it'd be a solid season for them. I don't like saying it. This is the unbiased me, right? The biased me would say we're finishing third, they're finishing sixth. But I'm impartial here, and I'm giving my honest opinion of what I think will happen. I just think Spurs will finish third, same as last season, be a solid season for them. They'll still have Champions League football. Who knows? They might even have a trophy. But I doubt it because they're Spursy. Anyway, on to second place. In second place, and just missing out once again on a Premier League title, I have gone for Liverpool. I just don't think they've got enough this year too. The only way I could see Liverpool winning the Premier League this year is if Man City put all their eggs in the Champions League and go for that. Pep Guardiola, I don't know if you guys understand this, is a perfectionist. He either wants it all or none at all. Hence why last year he went for it all and made a massive mistake in the quarterfinal against Spurs. Hence why they didn't really win the Champions League. Maybe they might go for all of it, City, or they might just focus on the Champions League. If they focus on the Champions League, I could see Liverpool winning the league. They haven't improved their squad, Liverpool. And even though they came so close in the 97 points and they were so far ahead of everyone else, I think they will drop down in points this season. No matter what you do in the Premier League, no matter how many points you get, you need to improve your squad. It's a crucial part of improving as a team, especially if you want to challenge up there for the title. And I think they'll give City a good run out, but I don't think it will be as big of a title clash between the two as it was last season. I think City will probably win it by 6, maybe even 8 points. I just think the fact they didn't improve their squad, I know it's great already, but I still think that they should have at least tried to maybe go for Naby Fekir, or even bring back Coutinho, who I think they missed so badly last season. The one thing they were missing, I think, was the creativity in that midfield. I think Coutinho could have done it. Maybe Oxlade-Chamberlain could do it this season now he's back fit. Who knows? But I'm predicting them once again to finish second. It won't surprise me if they go back in for the Champions League and win that again. But yeah, Liverpool fans, let me know what you think, but I'm predicting you once again to finish just behind Manchester City in second place. My prediction is the 2019-20 champions once again is going to be Manchester City. Pep Guardiola, as long as he's there, he could probably choose how long he can dominate. He's even improved his squad by bringing in Rodri as a backup, or maybe even as a replacement to Fernandinho. The only points they really dropped last season was when Fernandinho wasn't in the squad. And the fact they brought Rodri in from Atletico Madrid just shows that even when Fernandinho isn't there, whether they play him together or not, without one, they just we'll just bring back in Rodri, or we'll bring back in Fernandinho. They have basically the one position they needed to improve, and they have already improved it. They've obviously still kept the likes of Sterling, Aguero, all those great players. And they've also brought in Cancelo with a ridiculous swap deal from Juventus. They've also got rid of Danilo on the other way. I think they're planning on playing Cancelo on the left back, and I think Kyle Walker as a right back. That'd just be absolutely incredible. They've improved their team. Yes, they've only brought in mainly 2 players, and for some reason Scott Carson as a third choice goalkeeper. But once again, call me boring, and it's going to be boring. But Manchester City, Premier League champions. That is my Premier League prediction. Post your comments down below, fans of any club for the Premier League, or maybe even outside the Premier League that are interested. Post your comments down below of your Premier League predictions and why. I will have, after I wrap up this video, I will show on the screen the full table of what I have predicted, and we'll probably go back to this at the end of the season, and I've probably got them all wrong. But only time will tell. I'm looking forward to the new Premier League season. I hope you guys are. I will be keeping you guys up to date with Premier League previews and reviews, of course. So look forward to that. I've been the True Gooner. Like this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.